Hello super friends and welcome to DC TV Talk. This is the show where we talk all things Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And in today's video we're going to be talking about, is Argo City / New Krypton actually going to be coming to Supergirl in the next episode? So let's discuss. So, at the end of Supergirl 319, otherwise entitled The Fanatical, we saw Mon-El and Kara get into John's little car spaceship thing and fly off into space. Now, where are they going? Well, based on what we know in the episode, due to exposition given from Win, and also based on the promo for next week's episode, we can see that they are either going to two different variations of the same place. It could either be Argo City or New Krypton. But what are these two places? Well, that's what I'm here to discuss with you guys today. So if you look at the promo for next week's episode of Supergirl, we can see that there's this massive rock just floating through space, which is around 5 light years away from Earth, and this is where Mon-El and Kara are heading to. Now, if you're a fan of the comics and you know the resemblance, you'll be able to see that this piece of rock and this landscape looks very, very similar to that of either Argo City or New Krypton. But what are these places? Well, I feel like they're going to blend the two in this thing, because that is basically what they are in the comics. They're basically blended. So Argo City is a place, as far as I remember, I may be slightly wrong here, so, don't at me in the comments, but, it's basically a section of Krypton where Kara was actually born, also where Superman was born. It's a section of Krypton that actually got launched into space and basically is separated from Krypton, but it still managed to have some of its inhabitants and also managed to have some of its people still surviving on this place, and it became this civilization for those who, were kind of refugees, and also for those who were surviving Kryptonians. So it turns out that perhaps, Clark and also Kara may not be the final Kryptonians. They may not be the last of their kind, because there is this other, rock face floating out there, this civilization full of Kryptonians who actually survived the explosion of Krypton. Now, this Argo City is usually referred to as New Krypton, and this was also a storyline that was in the Superman comics. That was a Superman storyline called New Krypton, and it's referred to as New Krypton because it's basically, like I said earlier, a new civilization. This is like a new birth for Krypton. This is like a second Krypton that they can grow and expand and actually use to help build this civilization and build this, unison back up again, and to create this new version of Krypton that, because obviously the old Krypton is gone, but this is the last surviving piece of Krypton that they have. And also, like I said, it holds some of their last inhabitants, some of their last survivors, and I think that's a really cool concept to bring into Supergirl. I didn't think they'd do it, especially because it seems quite random, because this seems like it's going to be like a one-episode thing where, in theory, you could build a whole season around this if they wanted to. Obviously, I don't know if they necessarily have the budget for that, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like it's a bit of a weird storyline to have just for one episode, but it's certainly cool nonetheless, and some of the stuff it could introduce is definitely quite interesting. So again, Kara is going to be able to interact with all these different people. If they travel to this Argo City, it's going to look beautiful, and she's going to be able to interact with all this different architecture that she perhaps is familiar with and remembers from when she was on Krypton, because obviously she was a lot older than Clark was, of course, when she was on Krypton, because she is older than him, although obviously based on Earth years, they seem quite, about 10 years apart, but actually she's older than him. And she remembers Krypton, she remembers it. Clark Kent doesn't really remember it, but, or Kal-El doesn't really remember it, but, she does. So she's going to be able to see this Argo City, and she's going to be able to look at all these different things and remember what it was like to be living on Krypton as a child. And also, she's going to be interacting with loads of people. Perhaps we'll see her meet perhaps one of her older friends, maybe we'll see her interact with some people who she knew back on Krypton after the explosion. And that'd be really interesting to see her kind of go back in, because obviously the whole point of Supergirl was, seeing her blend in and trying to, fit in as normal, and they didn't really delve into that too much in Supergirl, because obviously by the time we got around to meeting her, she was already well established on the planet, whereas, in comparison to other stuff, like when you look at like the first Thor movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he was really having to adjust to living on Earth, and perhaps we'd have to see Kara adjust to living on Krypton again, kind of living that kind of life where she doesn't have to hide secrets, she doesn't have to be, Supergirl isn't really a thing because everyone is like her. So it'd be a really interesting way, and also it'd be awesome to see how these people of New Krypton perceive Kara as being this kind of hero and this god on Earth. Like, how would they think of that when they are all the same? They're all like that. So would they really perceive her, to be a hero, or would they kind of see her as kind of using her powers and her higher being to actually be this influencer, or would they agree with it? I don't know, but I think it provides a really interesting piece of dialogue that could be said between certain characters. It'd be really awesome to see how they're going to implement New Krypton and Argo City, and see how they're going to blend the whole thing and mesh it with Earth, and see how all these different conflicts may come up. Or we may not get any of it, who knows. It's Supergirl, it's very unpredictable, but I think it'd be very interesting, and it's definitely exciting to see this element of the Superman comics being introduced into the show. Also, based on the promo, we do see Allura Zor-El return. So she is on this planet. She's on this new Argo City, or New Krypton. She is there, and it seems like she is very much alive, which is interesting because obviously when you look back at the premiere of Season 3 of Supergirl, when she was in that dream state place with Mon-El, Allura was also there. So I find that's really interesting. So perhaps this was like a calling that, you know, she is still alive and she is still out there. Also, when you look at the set photos for the finale of this season, Allura is there fighting alongside Kara in the battle against Rain, alongside Mon-El, Imra, and also Guardian. So Allura maybe is going to be introduced back into the season by this episode, or perhaps she's going to be, you know, in the rest of the episodes, or maybe she'll just come back in for the finale to be like that big helping hand at the end, who knows. But I think it's really exciting to have, you know, Erica Durant to come back to play this role. Obviously they have recast her in Season 3. It is now Erica Durant, who played Lois Lane on Smallville, if I remember correctly, and she is now playing Allura Zor-El. But it's going to be really cool to have Allura back on the show, just to see how she interacts with Kara again, because this is going to be really awesome, especially because she's in the finale. That really excites me, and she's going to be getting back her costume and everything, so it's going to be really awesome. And I think that having her kind of being perhaps the spearhead and this new leader of New Krypton and of Argo City, it's going to be really awesome to see how they use her as a character, and how she's going to be treating, you know, these other Kryptonians who have also managed to survive as well. I think it's going to be a very exciting concept, and I can't wait to see how this develops next week. I'm actually really excited about this episode of Supergirl now. So tell me all your thoughts about this in the comment section down below. Are you excited to see Argo City / New Krypton in this show? Also, I'd like to apologize at the start of the video for me trying to explain, you know, stuff from the comics. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff, so I apologize if I get some things wrong here and there. It's just, that's going to happen. I'm not very good at explaining stuff from comics. But are you guys excited about this concept? Because I think it's going to be really cool. I think it's going to be awesome to see this kind of blooming Kryptonian civilization that we don't really see often. Like, even in Superman stories and Supergirl stories, we never see Krypton when it was flourishing, because obviously all of their origins come after that, so after the explosion of Krypton, after it's destroyed. So it'd be really awesome to see kind of how Krypton would be on Earth. And obviously you could argue that, you know, my point in there was completely irrelevant, because now we have got the show Krypton, which I haven't watched yet. But while that is perfectly a valid point, you know, before Krypton, you know, before a few weeks ago, we never really saw anything like that. So it's going to be really awesome to see how they're going to handle this kind of flourishing Krypton community, and I'm really excited to see that. So tell me all your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, I'd like to mention that I will be attending Heroes and Villains FanFest 2018 in London on Saturday the 26th of May, which is this week. I will be going there, going to be doing an awesome meetup with Dan McCann's Milk Media, who's my podcast co-host, also Ben the DC TV show, and also Boba Talks. We're going to be doing this big meetup. I'm also meeting loads of the stars from the shows, from the Arrowverse. It's going to be awesome. You can expect probably a vlog from me. You can also maybe expect some other cool stuff with those other YouTubers who I'm collaborating with. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great show. Also, if you guys are there and you see me, you know, don't be afraid to come up and say hi. It's going to be awesome to meet some of you guys and interact with some of you at the show if you're going. I'll be there on the Saturday, so it's going to be awesome, and I'm so excited for this show. So make sure to stay tuned to the channel as well for some awesome content coming your way. Also, if you like my content and you like what I make, then also you be sure to check out my podcast, which is called Honor Thy Podcast. It is a DC TV / Arrowverse podcast that I do with the previously mentioned Dan McCants, aka Mule Kick Media. And this is the podcast where we discuss all of the week's Arrowverse episodes and preview the next. It's a really fun podcast. It's, you know, it gets quite lively. It gets quite sometimes hate-filled, but it's definitely a fun time. So if you like the content I make here, then make sure you go check that out. The link is in the description down below. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It'll help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always, guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and Black Lightning. And with all that said, guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.